How's it going, guys? Can you guys hear me?
Yes.
Okay. I I always have to change my speakers. Sorry. So my understanding, just so that you guys know, is, and I'm not sure if I'm saying his name correctly, Darabel. He is supposed to be joining us for the Spanish interpretation. Um, is who Sasha has assigned this task to. So I just wanted you guys to be aware. But I thought I would also, after Commissioner Stevens goes and turns it over to me, I will mention the big language solutions participating, and then um, before introducing you guys, if you want, if that works.
Okay. I think that works.
Great.
So I have set it up to where I'm sharing my screen, but I'm not sure I see it. So I think
It's your whole thing. It isn't in slideshow presentation.
Okay, stop sharing. Thank you. Share window.
Hi, Andy. It shows your whole screen. Yeah. Oh, there we go. There
Okay,
you
so
go.
I just
There you
hadn't
go.
hit the slideshow. Okay. At some point, Annarelli, I would love to know where this picture is. It's beautiful.
Somewhere in Utah.
Okay.
Becky says that Andy and her unable to unmute because it's grayed out.
Correct, you are attendees. Do you need to speak? If you need to speak, add in the chat or raise your hand.
Andy should be unmuted for sure. So Andy, just so that you know, we were going to have Commissioner Stevens kind of just open it up on this slide. And then, and actually I do need everybody on the planning team, Annarelli, unmuted, because I was going to introduce you guys and have you guys say who you are and what organization you're with. And then Commissioner Stevens was going to turn it over to me, Andy, and then I was just going to mention the interpretation services, and then introduce you guys. Because Commissioner Stevens is going to talk about how we are doing this as a joint effort. But I still think it would be good for you to, unless you want to be speaking in some other way, if that works.
Yeah, no, that sounds good. So to introduce myself, but also say a couple words or keep it super short.
You're welcome to add anything. Oh, we got people joining. This is great.
Yep. Thank you, everyone. We will be starting in a couple of minutes. We'll let some more people trickle in. As you've noted, likely you are muted. So as you enter, you will be muted. I believe you can turn your camera on if you'd like. We will have some more guidelines as we proceed, but if you have any comments or questions, please use the Q&A function or the chat. We will wait one more minute.
Let me just make sure Commissioner Stevens has the link.
We're just waiting for one more speaker, and I think they're in. Let me add you to presenter. Okay. I believe we have all our speakers ready. And
Commissioner Stevens, do you want to kick it off for us?
I'm happy to do that. Yeah, thank you. Sorry it took me a minute to get on. I had another meeting and then couldn't find the link. So appreciate you putting that to the top of my inbox. Well, good. I guess it's still morning. So good morning, everyone. I'm Larimer County Commissioner Kristen Stevens, and I'm the current chair of the North Front Range Metropolitan Planning Organization, also chair of the Colorado Non-Attainment Area Air Pollution Mitigation Enterprise, and the North Front Range MPO representative on the Regional Air Quality Council, and the vice chair of the statewide Transportation Advisory Committee. So that's a lot. Suffice it to say, I do a lot of work in air quality for the state of Colorado. We're so happy that you're joining us today to learn more about the October Intermountain West Ozone Exchange Conference that we're hosting in partnership with the Pikes Peak Area Council of Governments. We appreciate you taking the time from your busy schedules today to hear more about the conference planning and to provide us with input. Unlike traditional conferences that center primarily on technical presentations and expert panels, this conference is being designed as a grassroots, community-driven exchange of ideas, data, and lived experience. The Ozone Exchange Conference is focused on building a shared understanding of the air quality challenges facing the Intermountain West states, identifying key issues, and empowering participants to be part of meaningful solutions. So we look forward to hearing from you today. I'd like to turn it over to our NFR MPO Executive Director, Elizabeth Relford.
Thank you, Commissioner Stevens. I appreciate it. I appreciate everybody's participation this morning. We are grateful, Commissioner Stevens, for your leadership and Larimer County's partnership to provide the venue at cost for this very important event. Before we begin the presentation, I just want to confirm if there's anybody on the call that needs interpretation services so that we can help provide Spanish interpretation today. If anybody needs that or would need to utilize that, can you just raise your hand for me and we can get something set up? Okay. So now before we jump into the nuts and bolts of what we're going to be talking about, I want to just take a moment to recognize and introduce our small but mighty planning conference team that has been working diligently behind the scenes to make this idea become a reality. Our team shares a common goal with creating, similar to what Commissioner Stevens was saying, this space where our researchers, our decision makers, industry representatives, community members, the public can come together and better understand the unique ozone challenges that are facing our region and explore those meaningful solutions collaboratively. So, planning team, when I say your name, if you could please turn on your camera and introduce yourself and let us know which organization you represent and the position you serve, I'd appreciate it. But I want to start with my counterpart, Andrew Gunning. If you want to go ahead, he's with PPACG.
Super. Thank you, Elizabeth. Andy Gunning, Executive Director for the Pikes Peak Area Council of Governments in Colorado Springs, and super happy to be here today for this discussion, and really excited to be able to partner with the North Front Range MPO in this really critical event. We've been doing a lot in the Colorado Springs greater region to try to reduce emissions, but that's not really translating into numbers that we're seeing necessarily at our monitors. So we started some conversations, I want to say about 3 years ago, with our counterparts across the Intermountain West, that'll be part of the conference as well in October, to really kind of dig into this. This is really kind of the next evolution in that process and that collaboration. So just really excited to be here. And if I could, Elizabeth, while I've got the floor, let me introduce Angie Martell, our environmental planner here with PPACG, and then I'll kick it back to you, Elizabeth. Thank you.
Angie Martell with PPACG. Thanks.
Anybody else on with PPACG that I might miss? I didn't know if Jared or anybody was joining us. Okay, great. Thank you guys. Appreciate this great partnership that we get to have together. Why don't we go ahead and Becky, do you want to go next?
Sure. Good morning. Becky Carrasco, Transportation Planning Director with the North Front Range MPO.
And Dr. Morales.
Hi, I'm Dr. Annarelli Morales. I'm the Air Quality Policy Analyst for Weld County in the Public Health Department.
And I don't know if we've got anybody with the state joining us this morning. So I think I'm gonna, Dina.
Hi there. This is Dina Wojtak with Two Roads Environmental. I currently have the presentation up, and if I take it back down, it's going to take a few minutes for me to pull it back up. So if you don't mind, I'm going to leave the camera up on the slides. Is that okay?
Yeah, of course. Thank you, team. I just want to tell you guys how incredibly grateful for those on the call that I am for these folks and everything that they have been doing to help shape today's discussion. So with that, Dina, we're going to go ahead and turn it over to you to kick this thing off.
All right. Thank you. So first things first, we're going to talk a little bit about today's meeting, the objective. We are super excited to share information and details about our upcoming Intermountain West Ozone Exchange Conference. There's going to be a significant portion of today's meeting dedicated to questions and comments. As we go through this, feel free to drop comments or questions in the chat as long as they're on topic. You can also send comments to our email that's listed here. Today's presentation and slides will be recorded. They're going to be posted on our website. And yes. Sorry, guidelines. We are keeping folks automatically muted. We're asking you to be courteous. I know you will be. And just kind of stay on topic. We will not be debating with this conference, debating the health and environmental effects of ozone, the setting of the standard, or advocating for specific statutory, regulatory, and policy changes. So we just wanted to say that right up front. So today we're going to talk about who are the organizers and partners, what's the purpose and goals of the conference, we'll give you some details, highlight that we have a call for abstracts out, we're going to talk about the need for your support and looking for your input, as well as then taking questions and comments. And then we'll end today with where you can find more information. So who are the organizers? You've already heard from Andy and Elizabeth. So we're the primary organizers are the North Front Range Metropolitan Planning Organization, currently located in Colorado's Ozone Non-Attainment Area. We also have the Pikes Peak Area Council of Governments that is adjacent to Colorado's Ozone Non-Attainment Area and also experiencing high ozone levels. And their consultant, that's me, Dina, with Two Roads Environmental. We have a number of partners and we're seeking some additional partners. So first of all, we're super excited to say that and share that Colorado's Air Quality Enterprise has voted to provide us some requested funding to help offset costs associated with this conference. We also are partnering, as Andy had mentioned, with their peers in the Intermountain West. And so one thing I neglected to highlight is that both the North Front Range MPO and Pikes Peak Area Council of Governments are primarily responsible with transportation planning in their area. I think they have other responsibilities as well, but it's the transportation planning responsibilities that are bringing them here today, exploring what else can be done in terms of ozone. And we all understand that transportation contributes to ozone formation. So they have partnered, and they have engaged with their peers in Arizona, Colorado, Utah, Nevada, New Mexico, Idaho, Washington, portions of Washington, and California. They've also engaged with state and local air quality planning agencies, specifically in Arizona, Colorado, Nevada, and Utah, because when they reached out to their peers, they discovered that several other ozone non-attainment areas were experiencing similar challenges, and they were trying to figure out how to work together to collaborate and better understand what each area was doing, what they were exploring. We are also seeking additional sponsors. So we're going to talk a little later about cost of the presentation or the conference, excuse me. But we're seeking sponsors and other partners to help us reduce costs, because we think it's a really important conversation to be had. And we'll talk a little bit more about what the conference is going to touch upon. So what I mentioned, we reached out and talked to several other ozone non-attainment areas. We discovered that each of these 4 ozone non-attainment areas were experiencing challenges with ozone, in that ozone was no longer responding as expected to significantly decreased human-made precursor pollutant emissions. And so what you're going to see here is a graph of ozone values that are used in comparison to EPA federal standards. And those are the colored lines across this graph. And you'll see on the right-hand side, ozone design value concentrations. That's the scale that you're looking at in reference to. You're also then looking at the bars that are on this graph. And the bars represent the combined statewide human-made precursor pollutant emissions. And so when we talk about ozone, ozone is not usually directly emitted. It's actually formed with a reaction between oxides of nitrogen, or NOx, that comes from fuel combustion, as well as volatile organic compounds, vapors off of fuels and paints and such. They react to form ozone. And so traditionally, when you're trying to lower ozone levels, you are trying to reduce those precursor pollutant levels. And so what we've looked at is the combined statewide emissions. So that's for all 4 of these states. And what you'll note is the dark bars are the NOx emissions, and the lighter bars are VOCs. So from left to right, at least on from 2002 to roughly 2011 in the middle of the graph, you will see that ozone levels largely track those precursor pollutant emissions. And those precursor pollutant emissions are decreasing, and ozone has a downward trend. And then in 2012, something starts going a little bit wonky. And then it seems to get worse in 2019. And so despite significant reductions in human-made precursor pollutant emissions, ozone wasn't responding as they had expected. And it created kind of a head scratcher. And so when we talked to these other areas, we discovered that they were all experiencing the similar challenges, and they were all conducting their own research to better understand ozone so they could plan forward and address ozone in their respective regions. So it looked like it was more of a regional issue that was occurring. So as a result, we thought it might be a good idea to bring folks together to talk about the research that was being undertaken in each of those areas and what the findings were, to share that information not only with air quality planning agencies, but also with other stakeholders that have been, involved and very interested and concerned about ozone in their respective areas. And so we are designing a conference for up to 500 people for a broad audience. So pretty much anyone who's concerned about ozone in the Intermountain West, people wanting to better understand it and what the challenges are, as well as researchers. So the conference goals are to share information among that broad audience, as well as then educate people on the framework that air quality planners have to abide by in developing a response to addressing ozone and within the Clean Air Act and within state implementation plan requirements. We also want to talk about the unique regional challenges. Again, it's not just any one area. Several areas are experiencing similar challenges. And finally, then we'll be talking about public communication challenges and ideas for improvements in that area. We often get comments or hear comments that, hey, the AQI is confusing to understand, or hey, I'm getting information from this source, and they don't seem to be saying the same thing. Why is that? So we do want to talk about public communication. We also want to talk about then near-term and long-term solutions to identify research gaps. All right, so getting to conference details. It's going to be held at the end of October, 3-day conference. And it's going to not just have that typical conference where there's the imparting of information one way. We are designing it to also include discussions. And so we are going to have that technical presentation of information, but we're also going to challenge presenters to also then explain what their findings or what their research might mean for the air quality planner, what it might mean for the mother of asthmatic children that has to live in the area. So we're going to challenge presenters to share that information. We're also going to have poster sessions and roundtable discussions. So we're really trying to promote discussion between attendees as well as with the presenters. The agenda is still in progress. I'm going to talk about why that is in a minute, but it's going to be held here in Loveland, Colorado at the Peterson Toyota Center. That's up at the Ranch Events Complex. Hotel and conference registration details are coming soon. We do plan on providing some degree of presenter stipends and perhaps scholarships based on need, and especially based on funding availability. And that's where we are looking for sponsors to help offset that, because I think it's really important to not only get the researchers here so they can present their information, but also get community organizations here as well, so they can hear it and we can promote a more robust conversation. Language interpretation services will also be available upon request. So please reach out and let us know that you need that as soon as possible so we can make arrangements to accommodate that need. All right. So I had mentioned that the agenda was still in the works. And that is largely because we have a call for abstracts out right now. And we are soliciting abstracts. Deadline is June 23rd of this year. If you've not seen this flyer, we'd love to get it to you so that you can share it. But really, the agenda is going to touch on these 4 bullets in this flyer that are listed, and that's going to set the agenda, but as well as then the response to the abstract or the call for abstracts. And so we are looking for abstracts on recent and ongoing ozone research. We're also looking for information on Unique regional challenges. We live along the continental divide. We love our mountains, but they present unique challenges for us in terms of topography and meteorology, as well as then the area deals with a lot of wildfire. We deal with background, long range transport, natural sources that are turning out to be contributing more to ozone formation than we've previously understood, as well as then human-made contributions. We're also seeking information on air quality planning, management, policy, and communications. And lastly, emerging air quality issues. So that's a pretty broad range of topics. And so we would ask you to really consider whether or not you would be interested in submitting an abstract. It touches on so many things that are, I think, near and dear to most people's hearts in terms of concerns over ozone. How to do that, you can go to the website that's listed on this flyer. You can scan the QR code. You can send us a question at this general email. And there's definitely, we can get you information. So please reach out. We're not only looking for presenters themselves, we're asking folks who think they know somebody who's involved in research or involved in, some kind of transportation element or involved with some other program that might be of interest. Share this information with them and encourage them to submit abstracts as well. So the response to this call for abstracts is going to flesh out the agenda for the 3 days. And so I just encourage people to go ahead and try to think about whether or not to submit an abstract or not. Okay, we do get the question, who can submit an abstract? And the answer is anyone. Okay. So support the conference. I want to highlight that this conference is being held at cost, i.e. not for profit. And so we need help. We need help spreading the word about the details about the conference, call for abstracts, all of that. We need help sponsoring the conference. We have several different sponsorship levels. We thought it might be interesting to kind of use the non-attainment classification scale minus the marginal classification. But we have different levels of sponsorship, as well as, if you have a unique program, incentive program, or communication strategy, that kind of thing, air monitoring program that you want to share, think about seeking a table to showcase that information. Again, we're going to have a broad audience, so I think there's a lot of opportunity to get the word out about your programs as well. All right. So with that, I think we're going to transition into the Q&A session of this meeting today. Again, we are here soliciting input and feedback on this is what we think we're doing with the conference, but it's early in this process, and we are seeking your input on how to incorporate thoughts or concerns as we plan forward. So with that, if you would either type your question into the chat or raise your hand, and then I think someone will be calling on you to respond to, calling on you to share your question, your comment. So with that, I'll hand it back to Annarelli.
Sure. Yeah, does anyone have questions? Raise your hand if you would like to speak or add it in the chat. And yeah, some of the discussion points, I guess, to consider are, do you want to tell us some more about what concerns you most about ozone in your community? What did you hear today that most resonated with you or maybe didn't? What concerns you have to share with us about this conference? If you come up with ideas of questions later, feel free to email us. We'll have a last slide with all our contact information. But a lot more details on the conference are on the website. So you can keep digging. And we will be having a frequently asked questions document that will be collecting all these questions. But is anyone having questions?
We
I
just want to
don't-
we want to make sure we're on the right track, that you guys think that, you know, if there's something you feel passionate about that we, you know, needs to get included as part of those discussions, we want to make sure that we hear your concerns. And we hope you attend.
I see someone with their hands up.
Yes, John, I believe you can unmute yourself.
Can you hear me?
Yes, we
Yes.
can.
Okay, so John Lawson at Utah State University, but at the Bingham Research Center. Some of you might know Dr. Seth Lyman. The one thing I wanted to ask was, I have an academic background, so I'll try not to be, you know, too ivory tower. But I do a lot of work that like it's hard to describe in terms of cross-discipline. I'd be quite passionate about a session that was like for things that didn't go into other boxes. That's all I have to say.
Yeah, and that would be fantastic. So, again, I'm Inarelli. I will be coordinating, or I guess working very closely with speakers to make sure that their information is like approachable by most people or the public. And I'm all about brainstorming. So if you have an idea of like submit your abstract, whatever you think you'd like to present that you think would be helpful for the conversations, and we'll find a place for it. If need be, we can have an odds and ends thing, but we also have a poster session. So you can, if it's something that you're working on, but maybe you don't feel like it's fully fleshed out, we might be able to put that in a poster. And maybe that's easier for you to get feedback from the public and from us to move your research forward, if it's in that kind of level. So I encourage you to submit an abstract, and we can always work out the details later. And if you have any specific things before you submit an abstract you want to brainstorm together, feel free to email me as well. I think I will put my email in the chat in case other people have questions, if you want to brainstorm abstracts before you submit them. But hopefully that answers your question. Great. Thank you so much.
So I think we want to try to funnel everybody through the email address below. Hang on. You'll find it here. We'll so capture this, and so send us thoughts and comments here.
Did that answer your questions? Do you have any follow-up that you wanted to do before we move on to the Tom?
No, I appreciate the response. Thanks. Yeah, I guess you were saying before it depends on what abstracts come in.
So
Yeah.
I think everybody can submit something. If it touches on ozone, we're definitely interested. It doesn't have to fit in one of those nice, neat, bullet items, although they're pretty broad. So I would just encourage you to go ahead and submit an abstract.
Tom, I think you can unmute yourself.
Yeah, thanks, and really, hi, everybody. Tom Moore with the Regional Air Quality Council here in this region. Thanks so much for having the town hall. We're looking forward to participating in the conference and providing suggestions. So the RAC team, kind of brainstormed some ideas, and they fall into a couple of major categories. So I don't want to monopolize the conversation, but maybe I could start with one, and that's a a question or get some feedback on the structural approach to this conference. When you look at the topic areas and how broad, they are, some of the conversation that if it were to be in breakout sessions or panel sessions might be supported or better supported by having 2 or 3 plenary sessions that there's a single, expert speaker for. And then the topic panels, might flow from that afterwards. I've seen that be a successful approach, in many other conferences, so that everybody starts with the same grounding information, and then there's, individual presentations and discussions that follow that. And with the great news that you all have additional funding, then and maybe additional sponsorships later, that might be possible over a 3-day conference. So that's one idea that the RAC wanted to put forward for consideration.
Absolutely. I have a tentative program. I just don't want to show it to people because it is a mess. But yes, I completely agree. We do plan to have some more plenary sessions where we kind of have a ground setting and understanding and more panel discussions, and the abstracts, I guess, will help fill in the rest of it to build off of it. But great question. Or comment. I've written that down. What's the next?
Well, the second order thought would be how you want to run the panels, however they get constructed, and the presentation and dialogue stuff that happens in a multi-presenter format. So if you're seeking help for that, the RAC would be certainly willing to help facilitate a panel. And then we feel like it's been a successful approach in our day-to-day planning work to use the Mentimeter approach to actually gather that input and document it, as opposed to trying to go back and listen to a recording or furiously take notes. So the Mentimeter provides a structure that would be really helpful, I think, for the panel type sessions, and the facilitator organizer folks could be responsible for structuring those based on what abstracts are assigned to those panels.
Excellent. We will definitely reach out to help us with some Mentimeter stuff, because I don't know how to use it, but it's very cool. Okay.
Great. So I'm on a roll here, if you don't mind.
Yeah, go ahead.
The other one, the third one is, we tried to kind of look through the topic areas that are listed in the request for abstracts and then the flyers information that Dina went through. There's a lot of very comprehensive, big picture ideas for topic areas. And we believe that it would be helpful in terms of the hypothesis that the conference is based on, that emission controls are not responding to reduce ozone within these 4 particular non-attainment areas. There are many other areas that are attaining the standards with similar controls. But if I could try a little bit of a laundry list, I'd be glad to send these along in writing afterwards. But we think it would be helpful to have a panel of some kind just to lay out the planning requirements and what is happening specifically in these 4 areas that are having difficulty in attaining the standard. So I'm part of a paper that describes the differences between these areas and the similarities, and they all are quite different but similar in a high level way. So that might be a helpful thing to kind of ground everybody in the scope and scale and detail, some of the details of the problems. We also think it would be helpful to have some kind of a panel or on kind of the methods that are used to screen data and do additional analysis to, figure out what kind of plan and what kind of controls to submit to EPA as the gatekeeper for this. And part of that would be to ask the panelists to present the anthropogenic emission trends, within the non-attainment areas, which is, that's the jurisdiction that where those emissions can be reduced. And then finally, maybe a third idea would be to have a focused panel, maybe following a plenary speaker, but we think that a background ozone expert should define the terms and kind of get everybody on the same page there, the causal factors. And then, I think that background ozone has, based on those definitions, then there could be a helpful panel to talk about how background affects areas that are in non-attainment, as well as areas that are in attainment, because there's, lots of areas that are close to the standard in the Intermountain West. So that's a really high level overview, but I think it would be helpful, Anna, to your idea about the agenda, to ask people to focus in on some more specific panel titles or something to help drive the abstract process, beyond the helpful general ones that you guys have put out there. So that's it. We're happy to be supportive and be involved. I think local and state agencies are listed as supporting groups, and so let us know how we can help make the whole conference succeed. We'd appreciate that opportunity. Thank you.
Thank you. Yes, please, since I think you have those listed, also email them to me so I can have that. But thank you so much for the thought you put into it.
So Tom, this is Dina. I would just say thank you as well. I know we've talked a couple of times about this. We do fully anticipate a panel of air quality experts in each of the non-attainment areas to talk about ozone in their respective areas and what they're doing about it, and a little bit of the history. We've also had received a suggestion that, hey, there needs to be talk about just air quality planning, kind of the framework that has to be used. And so I think we're looking at something like that. We recognize that, though, we need to have different perspectives on these panels, and it's it's not going to be just one perspective. And so we're looking at not only air quality planners, but also environmental organizations or other community representatives in some of these topic discussions as well. So there's going to be a lot of opportunity for that, but we also want to really honor the response to the call for abstracts, and perhaps they come in with something that we hadn't fully thought of. And so that's why it's still in flux. But thank you. We've already talked to you. We're going to continue talking to you because we anticipate that you will be playing a role in this important conference. So thank you.
Yeah, may I just amplify one part of that idea, which is that all the areas that are, not succeeding, based on the hypothesis that's shown in the background of this conference, they have procedures and regulations and everything else that are in place. So there's a federal law, everybody's subject to that. And then there are numerous procedural things, and all the states, all the locals have to follow the local and state procedures within their own region. Those are somewhat different based on my regional experience. So that's the main context for talking about the planning piece of this, is not to, say that these are the lines and there's no flexibility, but maybe to get a a broad cross-section of how different things are in Utah versus Clark County, Las Vegas, or the Phoenix area. And just really specifically, the slides list that state and local agencies like ourselves are part of the team. And, you know, it'd be great to you know, hear regularly about what we can do, you know, beyond participating in these really helpful town halls. So thanks
Great
very much.
suggestion. I appreciate that. And so there will be more information coming out, and we will work a bit on improving communications. I do want to highlight that we are a lean, mean, small team. And so we're going to be tapping people in terms of, you know, bringing them in and bringing them in as partners. So thank you for the offer, Tom. Appreciate it.
Thank you guys very much.
Okay. I don't see any questions in either location. So I think we can wrap up. That was very good discussion. So Dina, continue.
Okay, so today we're going to send out a brief email to you. I think it's 4 minutes or less to just gather more input, what you'd like to see included. If you're participating but did not sign up through the webinar link, please type your email in the chat so we can email that survey to you. So again, we are very much interested in folks' thoughts as we plan this we want to incorporate concerns. We want to address concerns and thoughts. And, you know, if there's topics we've missed or something that we are not accounting for, please let us know. You can drop that in the chat now, or you can email it to us. And then finally, you can track conference updates. So definitely visit the website if you haven't already. You can follow us on Facebook and LinkedIn. You can sign up to receive updates as information comes out about whether it's registration or it comes out on hotel information that's available, that kind of thing. We will send out notifications. And so if you want to receive those routine updates, please go to the website, link at the top of the slide here. Scroll down and you'll see a place to sign up for more information, and you will receive routine updates as we move forward. So we are anticipating that registration will be open in June, July, and August, and roughly that same time is when we are hoping the final agenda will be made available as well. So with that, we very much appreciate your participating today. We hope to see you at the Ozone Exchange. We do want to highlight again, if you're interested in questions, you have questions about the abstracts, you have questions or thoughts about sponsorship, or just planning this conference, please send emails to this email address down below, imwozone@outlook.com, and we will respond to that. So with that, we can close out today's presentation and meeting, unless there's any other comments that have come in the chat.
Yeah, Kimberly put in about the tables and sponsors, not seeing anything on our website yet, and that is correct. So we didn't. We're still trying to work through a lot of the details so that we can one, not be too presumptuous of what everybody wants to see as part of this conference, but two, also try and figure out what's the best way to communicate with you guys. So we are continuing to meet. We hope to have more sponsorship information up on the website as soon as we can get it up there, honestly. Full disclosure, the staff member that, you know, is helping with this, he's on vacation. So it probably won't be till next week that we're getting some stuff up there. So I appreciate your patience. To Dina's point, if you guys are not seeing something and you want to have more information, just email that IMW Ozone Outlook email, and we'll get back to you. Because our intent is not to slow down, especially if you want to help sponsor and participate. We don't want to impede that effort. So please reach out, email any of us, and we're happy to try and help facilitate that. So we really appreciate you guys taking your lunch hour on a Friday to join us. And the next one that, we're doing 2 of these town halls. They're intended to be exactly the same. The only thing that may change is as we're continuing to work through this effort, our website could be getting updated. And so just like Dina said, keep sign up for updates or continue to track the website. And we really appreciate your guys' time today.
And help spread the word.
Yes. Share it with all of your friends.
All right. Well, thank you, everyone, and have a great day.
Thank you.
Thanks very much.